And we are back, folks, for another edition of the Recruiting Insider with another of the Peach State's finest. We made it out to Carrollton to see one of the best corners in the country. And the schools are lining up to try to get him to come to their universities. Michigan is no stranger, but they got to go through a lot of big dogs in the South before they can try to get him to come up north. I'm talking about Mr. Dorian Barney. Dorian, how you doing?
Doing good. How you been?
Doing great, man. Glad that we could catch up with you. Come to your stomping grounds to see how things look here. So let's just, before we get into talking recruiting and all of that,
Right.
let's just reflect first upon your season last year. Obviously, one of the top recruits in the country.
Yeah.
How did things go for you on the football field last year?
Me personally, it went good. It wasn't bad. I had some good stats. It could have been better. I missed plays I should have made, but it was good. As a team, we made it to state. We didn't get the result that we wanted, but this year we're gonna be back for good, and we go different result.
So let's talk about you individually. I know
Yeah.
what I see when I watch you,
Right.
and what I think of your game, but when you watch, you pretend you're a coach or a scout in the
Yeah.
stands, and you're watching yourself. What do you see when you watch Dorian Barney on the football field?
Best player on the field. He's the best player on the field. He out there. He got confidence. Elite ball skills. Cover man to man. Play zone. Tackle. Do whatever you need to do.
Is there a player in college or the pros that you kind of, look at,
Yeah.
emulate, or people compare you to?
Pastor 10. I look at him myself. I don't know who people compare me to, but
Okay.
that's who I watch. I watch a lot of him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So listen, I also like to go back to the beginning, because when you play on the corner, that's a mentality.
Right.
Defense is a mentality, corner is a mentality. So
Yeah.
where did that come from? Who did you get that from, or did it come to you naturally that's what you want that smoke out there?
Yeah. My dad, he played a little bit of safety. But he was mainly quarterback. I played quarterback when I was younger, but I always played on both sides of the ball. When I just got to high school, I just wanted to find the fastest way to get on the field.
Okay.
And then that corner I was becoming a dog at it. I just stayed with it.
Okay. So, offense, no offense to Pops, but offense, that tends to be they say defense is a mentality. You want to hit people.
Yeah.
Offense don't want to get hit, right? So
Yeah.
you got to flip that switch. What made you, was that something that you always had in you had that aggressive mentality on that side of the ball, or was that something that flipped and changed in you? When did you start getting that?
Man, I had the aggressive mentality on both sides, even when I played quarterback. So it was there when I went to fully defense, but it always been there for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did your love of the game start? Like when did you start loving it, and when did you start knowing you were good at it?
Man, when I was about my little brother age, when I was about 10, that's when I know this it right here for sure.
So you knew early on
Yeah.
that this was going to be the way. So now you get to the point where, you get to high school,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a different ball game. Yeah, it's for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for your team. But now schools are starting to look at you.
Right.
At what point do the colleges start showing you the attention and offering you scholarships?
When I was a freshman, my freshman year, it all happened after my freshman year. I had 8 interceptions. I went crazy that year.
Okay.
8 interceptions, around 30 tackles, about 6 PBUs. I could have had 12 interceptions. But it all started there. I just kept that mindset, stay humble. It just continued, got better from there.
Okay, so who was your first scholarship offer?
University of South Florida.
University of South Florida
Yeah.
as a freshman. So when it came down, was it one of those things where you were really excited, or were you like, hey, I got 8 interceptions. I expected this to happen.
Man, I really wasn't expecting it. I was a freshman. I was seeing all the other people get offers in 8th grade, but I wasn't expecting it because I was just moving down to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
My name wasn't really popular, but when I had them stats came out, it got real from there. And it's crazy. The coach, he came to the school. He came to the school that day. He didn't offer me when he was there.
Mm-hmm.
And then my coach had sent me his number. He was like, call this coach. So I called him. I'm downstairs with my dad and my mom. I called him. I'm walking back and forth on the phone with him, walking back and forth. He was like, want to offer you a scholarship? I'm like, for real? I was like, I just seen you, coach. I'm like, for real? So he offered me that. That was the happiest day of my life, probably.
Yeah, so man, you start balling out right away.
Yeah.
And you're a guy from Pittsburgh, right?
From Erie, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, from Erie, Pennsylvania, coming down. down south. Did you feel like, man, were you nervous about that? Did you feel like you had to prove yourself, or you was like, hey, just give me opportunity?
And I didn't feel like I had to prove myself to nobody. I had to prove myself to myself first. But all I needed was opportunity. That's the only thing I needed to put my name out there.
Yeah, well, they got out there, and they got out there in a big way. You know, USF was just the first of many. So how many scholarships are you up to now?
I'm at 50 right now.
50.
50 going into my senior year.
Man. So
yeah,
when you have that many schools coming at you, it's obviously a blessing.
Yeah.
But it can be real difficult to narrow it down. Is that hard for you? Is that hard for you?
Yeah, that is a little hard, you know, because you want to keep that relationship with the coach. You always just want to stay in contact with them, but it's really just the best fit for you. Wherever you feel comfortable, wherever the best fit, wherever you're gonna get an opportunity to play, just however you vibing with the coaches, you know. But it can't be all about the coaches, it's gotta be all about the building too, the program, because the coach, he could leave tomorrow.
Right.
He could leave tomorrow. The coach you want to talk to right now, he could leave tomorrow, be a whole different coach. So you want to keep that relationship with all the coaches that you have.
I got you. All right, so you said you gave me a list of criteria that you were looking at to kind of narrow things down. Have you laid out who your official visits are gonna be?
Yeah, I got official visits. Going to Penn State tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Colorado last weekend. I go to Georgia Tech May 31st, and then Texas A&M June 6th, and then Michigan June 20th.
So let's talk about each of those, kind of how you listed. You go to Penn State tomorrow. What was it about Penn State that let you know, hey man, this is a school other than obviously Erie, Pennsylvania.
Right.
But Penn State is the school that I wanna check out closer, have them be one of the finalists.
Yeah, you know, going back to my home state, but I went up there for the first time this spring. You know, it felt like I've been up there multiple times. It don't even feel like it was one time. It felt like it was 10. But them just keeping that communication ever since they got in touch with me. They kept that communication. I went up there, felt the vibe, seeing how I could fit in their program, how I could make a difference.
Okay.
And that's what I love about Penn State.
Okay. Did you grow up a Penn State fan?
Actually, not, wasn't.
Okay. All right. So who was your next visit?
Georgia Tech.
So Georgia Tech. So obviously, man, they came up. They're on the come up. They obviously last year made a big turn and was putting it on people. So what about Georgia Tech made them make the cut?
With Coach Key, what he's doing and what I can see he's going to do in the future. You know, I got a feeling they could make a run in the playoff these next couple of years. Maybe a national championship. You never know how college football is these days. But with what he's doing, then Kobe coming in his first year coaching, you know, I believe in him. I believe in how he could develop them young guys over there.
Okay. Who's the next visit?
On A&M, Texas A&M.
Texas A&M. So what about the Aggies?
Yeah.
Made them in there.
Went up there about 4 times during the season. Went to go watch them play 4 times. You know, my relationship with them is just it's so strong. You know, I got a good relationship. You know, I just feel comfortable every time with them.
So is that the school you've been to the most, Texas A&M? Would you say? 4 times?
Probably been Georgia the most.
Georgia the most? All right.
I went there a lot.
Okay. All right. So who's the next visit after A&M?
Oh, Michigan.
We'll come back to Michigan. Who's after Michigan?
That's it.
That's it. All right. So Michigan.
Yeah.
When did Michigan come into the fold? Like, were you expecting them? Were they showing interest in you all along? How did they jump in?
Last spring when I was at Peachtree Ridge, last spring they came in. He had offered me, you know, Coach Morgan, the same coach. He's been there. That's a long period of time for college football now.
Right.
But he just always kept in contact with me. You know, he never showed me no gray color. He always kept in contact. Then with me getting up there, it just made me feel like it's even more fit for me just not seeing or him telling me. I got to see it for myself.
So what's the vibe like? When you talk about him as a coach, what's the vibe like with him personally?
No, it's a good vibe. You know, he's straight out. You get straight to the point. That's what I need for a coach, for me to develop, to get to that next level after the next level. Okay.
All right. So then you said you made it up there, and it kind of you looked around, kind of opened your eyes a bit. So the other coaches, what about Coach Wink? Did you get a chance to talk to Coach Wink Martindale at all and talk about the defense and, you know, the guys that he's coached and played and developed at the pro level even? Yeah, we did. We sat down with each other, but we talk a lot on the phone. But we sat down. You know, he coached in the league, coached the Ravens. He developed a lot of great guys. You know, he coached Ray Lewis, one of the greatest ever played. Okay. All right. So then Coach Moore, though, last year 1 as the head coach, putting his stamp on the program. What did you think of Coach Moore?
You know, he building that program up. I got a feeling they might win it this year. I got a feeling, especially the way they practice, they very detailed. You know, they run it like ours. So ain't nothing. It's nothing gonna change over there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. When you were up there, what would you say stuck out to you the most? What was your biggest takeaway from that trip up there?
Really, how the players lead. You know, it's a player-led team. How the coaches listen to them. You know, I just love it up there.
Okay.
Everything about it.
So you had, to me, when it comes to Michigan, you had a kind of a bird's eye view of the how they sort of vary their defensive backs. You had one DB who played safety, nickel, corner, and he was all over the field. And, you know, you seem like a dude, obviously a corner, but who can do a whole lot. Have they talked to you about how they would want to use you if you came to Michigan?
Yeah, year one, you know, obviously gonna start at corner, develop me there. But if I can move around, I will move around. You know, that's better value for me.
Okay. All right, so let's look away from Michigan a little bit and just talk in general. When it was 50 schools you were considering, Dorian, I mean, you know, it's tough, but at the same time, you can eliminate schools that you know you're not going to.
Right.
These are 4 schools you know you like all of them.
Right.
You like all the coaches. So now the criteria to kind of pick one becomes a lot more refined, becomes a lot more difficult. So now what are you going to look at to separate one school from 4? Just
really how bad they want me, how bad they gonna push to the finish line when I'm ready to make my decision. What's the best fit for me? How's the vibe? You know, how's the program staying in line?
Do you feel like it feels like from the outside that Michigan was a program that maybe you knew the least about heading in? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
So how much did you watch them? Maybe the year they won the national championship or even last year, how much did you even watch them on?
I really didn't watch them that much. Probably watched them when they played Ohio State.
When they played Ohio State. I was going to ask you that.
And when they played Bama.
Okay, and Bama. Yeah. So basically, they're 2 best games of the year.
Yeah.
Without, in the Ohio State game, there was no Will Johnson, no Colston Loveland.
Right.
You know, you had a lot of guys out, and even more guys sitting out against Bama. But the Ohio State game was the 4-touchdown underdog in their house, national champs, and yet Michigan still went down there and beat them. Were you surprised by that? And did that say anything to you as a recruit?
Nah, I wasn't really surprised. You know, just how their defense always been in the past. You know, they always keep that strong defense with them. It don't matter whatever year it is.
Okay. So did you get a chance to connect with any of the guys? You were up to any of the recruits? I know a lot of guys say they got a chance to talk to Bryce Underwood, for instance. You talked to any of the guys while you were up there?
JoJo.
Okay.
JoJo
Edmond. Okay.
What's number 20? Hill?
Yeah, and Jair Hill?
Yep, Jair. Yeah. I was talking to him.
Okay, yeah. So the corners. So you got a chance to get to know them a little bit. So now when you head out on the officials, what are you gonna be looking for different on the officials that you didn't necessarily look for while you were there for the unofficials?
It's not really nothing like that I need to see like around campus. It's really just keeping that vibe with the coach, seeing how bad they want me.
So you said a bunch of different things. One thing you didn't say was distance from home.
Nah,
that's not gonna factor in at all?
That don't matter.
Not even a little bit?
Nah, I'm 12 hours away from home already.
I hear that, okay. So what about this? I mean, NIL, on some level, you know, every guy has to consider NIL. How big of a factor would that be for you?
I wanna get what I deserve, but no, that don't play no part in it really.
Are all the schools coming at you the same, or are some schools more effective in how they talk about NIL? Some schools talk about branding. Some schools just talk about straight bread. I mean, what's the right approach with Dorian Barney?
Really just how I'm going to be getting taken care of throughout them 3 years down there.
So, timeline, as you start to juggle this, you got your official visit set. Are you going to be making a decision this summer? Are you going to kind of wait it out? What does the timeline for making the decision look like for you?
I'm looking to make it at the end of June.
Wow.
Yeah, after my OVs.
Wow.
At the Michigan OV. Might be some.
Wow, man. So, wow. so are you already, you don't even have to tell me who, but I got to ask, are you already leaning somewhere, or you going into this totally wide open?
Nah, just foot race right now.
Just a foot race right now.
Foot race.
See who can pull ahead during the race. Okay. All right. So then when it comes to time to make the deliberation, do the deliberation, are you one of those guys that sits at the table with the people in your circle and you talk it out and you got make the decision collectively? Or some guys, they say, I want to sit with my people who I love and who support me. Y'all give me the input. Now I'm going to go over here and make the decision. How's it going to work for you?
Oh, it's really going to be between me, my mom, and my dad. That's the biggest factors in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Them two right there. I'm going to have a little commitment party.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you already know how you're going to do it?
Yeah.
All right. So, man, as you go through this journey, one of the things that I like to do is I like to have guys sort of pay homage, show some recognition to the people who helped them along the way in the journey, right? Get to where they go. And when you get there, they're going to be right there with you every step of the way. You fall down, they're going to help pick you up. Who are those people for you? And shout them out right now in that camera right there. Yeah,
my dad, that's my number one. He always been there. He always been there for me. And my mom. They always been there for me through the hard and bad, through the bad and good times, My coaches, the coaches in high school. I've been to 3 high schools. This is my 3rd high school. But here I felt the most love, felt the most welcome here. Mm-hmm. No shade to the other ones, but I just felt the most welcome here. And my uncles, Demetrius Crosby, he always been there for me. Little League, he used to coach me Little League. He was the defense coach. My dad was the offense coach. We used to go at it in practice. Just go at it. But then my grandparents too. They always been there. They back up at home in PA. My granddad, he in Charlotte. Okay. He just moved to Charlotte. But my grandparents, they're all a big factor to me.
Yeah, man. So this is a journey that you guys take together, man. I imagine they're excited too. Have you sensed? I mean, do your PA fam want you to come back to PA? Your Georgia fam wants you to stay down here. How does it work? You got any family sort of leanings?
I got family. I got a lot of family in Georgia. I got a lot of family in PA, and they just want the best fit for me.
I hear you. So if we wanted to, let's fast forward, look ahead to the season. Yeah. If we wanted to circle a couple games on the schedule, that would be big games to come to watch you do your thing. What would those big games be?
Gainesville, Parker, and Douglas County.
Okay. So we gave us 3 to kind of look at. And then I always like to close out with a couple. Number one, you've been through the recruiting process a bit now. You got great sort of advice. People who have been in the game, been through recruiting, can kind of tell you what to look for. So how would you recruit you at this point? You said it's a foot race.
Yeah.
I now want you to be the recruiter. I mean, are you blowing up your phone all the time? How do you recruit you here down the stretch? Because you're in the final stages now.
Yeah. I really just give me my space, really, but still communicate at the same time, still show the love to my mom and my dad. Just communication.
And that's how you build. So recruit your family.
Yeah. You gotta build a relationship with them too.
Yeah, I hear that.
You gotta build a relationship with them too. It's really just about communication, just staying in contact, because that's how you build that relationship down the line.
I got you. And then my last one, a Michigan question. What would you say you like the most about them? And then obviously with them being maybe the program that you were least familiar with heading into it, what's the biggest question you have about Michigan at this point?
How are they going to change me when I walk into that door my first day of college?
Mm-hmm. And what would you say you like the most about them right now?
How they develop players.
Yeah, man. You get a chance. I don't know if you got a chance to see any of the guys, any of the draft. Was Will Johnson there while you were there at all?
No, I didn't see him.
Yeah, I know he was at practice a couple of those days. Well, Dorian, man, you made the trip, man. I wasn't going to leave until I got a chance to see you, so I appreciate you staying extra, staying later after your scrimmage today. Good luck this season. Good luck recruiting, and we'll be checking for you during the year.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks a lot. Carrollton's finest, Dorian Barney. We'll see you next edition of the Recruiting Insider.